Here's Edge of Wonder. Talking about celebrity cloning.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
It all began innocently enough 20 years ago when we cloned the first mammal.
Captain Seculoid with 500 bits. Baja has the same energy as my wife right now when I get a psychology thing wrong, and I am sorry, Hannah. It is what it is.
But many say there's a very dark agenda other than just the advancement of science when it comes to cloning.
Clones would be profitable as slaves? No, they wouldn't be. They'd be way more expensive than just, like, normal people. That would make no sense. It's not any easier. In fact, it's quite a bit harder to make a clone than it would be to, like, just get people. What? I know, I did get blasted. Now I know what that feels like. Hurts my soul.
And despite the obvious ethical implications, one must ask, have humans been cloned? And for how long? And if so, what is the real purpose of cloning people? For the benefit of mankind, or for something truly devious? Now, get ready for episode 2, Exposing the Music Industry. Only on Edge of Wonder.
Hey everyone, welcome to Edge of Wonder.
Do you ever wish you could clone yourself so you can get more things done in a day? Or maybe you're a couple who unfortunately can't conceive a child, and how you would like a little you running around the house. I mean literally, a little you.
Or maybe you have a disease.
That would be incredibly narcissistic. Anyone who, instead of wanting a child, literally wants just a tiny version of themselves, that's messed up. If someone did that, I wouldn't trust them at all. Freaking Out 99 says, I found some fun tinfoil to watch. I'll save it for next week, but I can't watch it this week because of how the Tinfoil Tuesday bingo works.
Disease or illness and you'd like a part of your body replaced. Or maybe you had a loved one who died and you wish to bring them back.
Wait a minute, Rob. That sounds more like Frankenstein creating a monster or some Pet Cemetery thing going on here.
I knew Pet Cemetery was gonna come up sometime. Zelda, that woman was the scariest character in any movie I've ever seen. It gave me almost as many nightmares as my great-grandmother's granny chin hair. I mean, did you know that actually at Clonaid they can perform all of this and so much more? Who cares if it's more?
MMO Addicted with 100 bits. This reminds me, in Star Wars, why did the Empire take slaves sometimes? Droids and robots exist and are way more efficient and cheap than Wookiees and don't shed as much. I would imagine part of that has to do that, like, droids in Star Wars kinda suck. Like, I guess I don't know enough about the EU to say, but, like, I feel like a Wookiee is more versatile than something like C-3PO, right? I guess battle droids were pretty versatile, but even then they were idiots, so I don't know. I'd need to know more EU stuff. Just got out of class. What's this conspiracy? Cloning. Celebrity cloning. Unless the loved one has all the memories that they had when they died, that person is even close to you, your loved one. Yeah, it's very silly.
Morally or ethically wrong, you pay $1 gazillion to bring great-grandma back. Presto, she comes out of the Matrix tank where they grow human clones and you get to bake cookies with grandma again.
You may think we're not being serious at all about this, but would you believe when...
But it wouldn't be your grandma. It would just be like a weird baby grandma that, like, has none of her memories. It would just be an identical twin, basically. The Clone Wars just happened. Massive war, galaxy in turmoil. No one wants it. That's why someone bit by a dog doesn't like dogs, I guess.
We say that this is all taken directly from the official Clonaid website, which is a true legit company based out of Canada. This all started when we made our Lord Ashtar video and we came across this weird UFO religion called Realism, which promotes transhumanism, genetic manipulation of humans, along with sexual liberation, and of course, cloning.
Since we came across all of this junk, we wanted to get even more in depth with it, but what shocked us most is how many celebrities are talking about cloning, and don't worry, we will be getting into more of that later in the episode.
Also, one of the most spellbinding testimonials that we came across, nearly as gripping as Corey Good's experience, is a man named Donald Marshall.
Dr. Gamble with 100 bits. Grandma cloning. That's the secret to Cookie Clicker Empire. That is true. I played that game.
Who you probably never heard of, but if his story is true, then this will forever change the way we all view music today.
Ben and I spent an entire day watching videos and reading his entire site. Now, we have no way to prove any of this, so we're just going to present what Donald is saying, but there's a lot he says which does line up with what we know about the deep state, and that's why it's interesting to.
Oh gosh, there's the deep state. Do I have that one? Hold on. Reptoids, Hannah might die of laughter, tracking microchips. My research said not by a researcher, forced sterilization, QAnon, word salad, anonymous, Illuminati, Freemasons. I don't have the deep state, but if you have the deep state, click it.
To us.
However, there is a series of articles that came out on Steemit which break down his whole story and dig into whether they are true. The conclusion the author comes to is that Donald does seem to be telling the truth based on what he understands and knows.
We also reached out.
I'm gonna say that's my research, not said by a researcher. That's basically a paraphrased version of that.
Out to Donald to see if we could interview him. His story is way out there, but there's some smoking gun evidence along with celebrities and scientists talking about this. So far, we haven't heard back from him, so if any of you guys out there...
If I could bring back a historical figure and hang out with them, who would it be? Oh, I barely want to hang out with people who are alive. Why would I want to bring someone back from the dead just to hang out with them?
know him, let him know we would love to have him on the show.
So who is Donald Marshall? Well, he is an Illuminati whistleblower who claims...
Wait, did he just say Illuma Donkey? It sounded like he said Illuma Donkey. Why did he say that? This says Illuminati whistleblower, though. So if you have Illuminati, click that one off, too. Edge of Wonder is just, like, nailing this one.
He has been cloned. Almost all of us have heard about the deep state's underground bases, in which insiders call deep underground military bases, or DUMBs for short.
DUMBs. I mean, they couldn't come up with a better acronym fitting for the cabal.
Guys, even if the secret cabal existed, which it does not, if they did have something with DUMBs as the acronym, it would be intentional, or at least tongue-in-cheek. Do you think they didn't do that and realize, oh, this acronym spells out DUMBs? What a weird comment to be like, haha, just like the cabal. Like, wait, what? Are they idiots or are they super geniuses who know how to clone people? Which is it? Because it can't be both. Pizza is my dad with 100 bits. I always want these guys to be like the lone gunman from X-Files, but they're usually just anti-Semites. True.
But anyway, most of us all know about Dulce, New Mexico base, and our boy Donald talks about this a lot. His claim is that every night when he goes to sleep, as soon as he enters
If you need the bingo link, put exclamation point bingo with no space.
REM sleep, his consciousness is transferred to one of these bases and enters his clone body.
Now, Donald doesn't know exactly how they do this, but he says they call it REM-driven consciousness transfer. He said
REM is rapid eye movement. It's the kind of sleep you do when you're sleeping restfully and you're having dreams.
his consciousness is stolen from him and he wakes up in a clone body, and this happens every night no matter where he is in the world.
Also, according to Donald,
That person is a crazy person. That person is paranoid. That person needs to be medicated.
all the Illuminonkeys have clones too, and every night they all meet in their clone bodies at these bases. So what do? Well, do you really have to ask? Mostly sexual indulgence, torture, kill, rape, and every other despicable act there is to children and each other. He said his parents sold him as a child to get into the Illuminati group.
Okay, so this guy is either
Funny about the two.
lying, which is pretty up there on the list, or two, legitimately has severe delusions and needs to be medicated and needs to be institutionalized until such a time that he can get the help he needs to come back down to reality. Oh, did they say because of Satan? That would definitely be ritual child abuse or Satanism. This is some real altered carbon shit right here. True. Let me see if I have satanic or whatever, or ritualistic child abuse. Satanic ritual child abuse. Yep.
But before we go into Donald's story, we want to talk more about Clonaid and the celebrities who have claimed to have been cloned. Also, an article was published by The Independent titled Human-Animal Hybrids to be Developed in Japan After Ban Controversially Lifted. So it looks like in Japan, they are already working on this.
Also, in a YouTube video produced by Sky News, a scientist at an undisclosed location created the world's first public clone embryos, which he says will go into 4 different women. But they couldn't give many details since it's illegal in most countries. Yeah.
But going back in time to 2002, the strange Dr. Bridget Bozelier from Clonaid held a press conference to tell the world about the creation of the first public clone, Eve.
Now, she said that she should be flanked by the parents, scientists, and others, but after backlash from the world, they decided on just her.
Also, Clonaid isn't their real name. They refused to give their public name, but it used to be under Valiant Venture Ltd. Also, Dr. Bozelier is a bishop in the so-called realism UFO religion. So why would this religion be so focused on...
I don't think the dumb comment is inherently anti-Semitic, thinly veiled. I don't think any time someone uses the term cabal, it's necessarily thinly veiled anti-Semitism. It can be, depending on the person who's saying it and the context in which they're saying it, but I don't know enough about Edge of Wonder to know how into the anti-Semitic conspiracies they get. So I don't know.
Called realism UFO.
Oh. Yeah, that one is though. That one is that a Star of David with a swastika in it? Oh my. Oh no. That one, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yep. Do I have that one? Yep. Dr. Campbell with 1,000 bits. Ah! Yikes.
Religion. So why would this religion be so focused on cloning?
Okay, that's it. That's a bingo. Did you get a bingo? Bingo? If so, link your card so I can check it.
Oh, but there is so much
Oh, you did not. Okay.
more to this story. And
That's a symbol. That's the symbol of realism. Is that a real thing? Or is that a conspiracy made-up thing? Realism, also known as Raelianism, is a UFO religion that was founded in 1970s France by Claude Vorahone, known as Rael. Scholars of religion classify Raelism as a new religious movement. The group is formalized as the International Raelian Movement or hierarchical organization, blah, blah, blah. Teaches that extraterrestrial species known as Elohim created humanity using their advanced technology. An atheistic religion, it believes that the Elohim have historically been mistaken for gods. Ooh, it might not be thinly veiled anti-Semitism, though. It's just the actual promote a liberal ethical system with strong emphasis on sexual experimentation, engage in daily meditation, and a hope for physical immortality through human cloning. I don't think this is thinly veiled anti-Semitism, then, because it's a legit, like, logo for, like, a cult. So, unmark that. I don't think that counts.
2003, every media was reporting on how unethical it was and demanded answers to the whereabouts of the child. Even
Then
former
why have a
President-
swastika in the middle of it? Maybe they're trying to do like a, oh, we're gonna reclaim it thing, even though, of course, swastikas weren't like a symbol of Judaism. Maybe they're like, we're gonna claim it and recontextualize it. Either way, bad choice. Definitely a bad choice.
Bill Clinton condemned this at the time.
But then, after 2003, there is pretty much nothing. There aren't many articles.
They were founded in the 70s, too, so that's like 30 years after the Holocaust. Not a great call, guys. Maybe get a different graphic designer in on that one.
Even mentioning human cloning in the US.
Is there a prize for winning bingo? Yeah, you get a gift. I gift you a sub, or if you already have a sub, then I put you on a list to get one when yours runs out, or I can gift your sub to someone else of your choice, if you'd like.
However, because of Bill Clinton and George Bush, new legislation came out that forbids people and companies to perform any kind of cloning, but only in the US.
Also, we're not sure if old Bill and George were playing two sides of the coin here or not, but now most media think the Eve child was a hoax all along by the realism religion. But according to many insiders and celebrities, it is very real and happening right now in Maine.
What if I win bingo? Then I gift a sub to either whoever I want, or I'll do it randomly.
On a mainstream level. Stellar
Sea Cow, sorry, I know way too much about realism, guys. I had to put a damper on that parade. Well, thank you for correcting. Soily1, hoax. It is indeed. It sounds like a hoax.
But Clonaid can get away with this because it isn't a US company. It is a Canadian company which was registered in the Bahamas.
I feel like cloning is probably, or at least human cloning, is probably also illegal in Canada. Let's see. Human cloning, illegal, Canada? Yeah, it's illegal in Canada too, so bullshit?
So it is technically free of any law in the US. It is also known by many people that Michael Jackson was obsessed with cloning.
And those Canadians, I mean, they're just behind everything.
Michael Jackson was obsessed with a lot of things. Maybe don't get into that. Let's not open that can of worms.
Thing, man, right? I'm just kidding. He made samples of his DNA to use for cloning, and according to a Telegraph article, he even went to a realism conference on cloning and
did get satanic ritual child abuse.
Was excited with the prospect of being cloned. He even said to his friend Uri Geller,
"Oh God, Uri Geller's a hack fraud. He got proven to be a fraud live on TV. Apollo 8192, bingo." Let me see your card. There it is. Satanic, Baja Blast, Free Space, Flat Earth, My Research. Yep, you got it. Apollo 8192. Good job. Let me see. I'll write your name down, and then you can either get a sub when yours runs out, or let me know if you want it to go to someone else.
quote, he grabbed Yuri by both arms and told him, "I really want to do it, Yuri, and I don't care how much it costs," unquote.
Another celebrity who came out is Tila Tequila, who has made...
Didn't expect a Tila Tequila call out. For those of you who are old enough to remember, Tila Tequila, you can play for fun if you want, but that's the one winner, basically. But we can play for fun. Tila Tequila was a MySpace celebrity. For those of you who don't remember MySpace, MySpace was Facebook before Facebook was Facebook. And for those of you who don't remember Facebook, Facebook was Facebook before Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and TikTok were what they were. Does that make sense? She's also crazy. Like legit. Was she pre or post Flava Flav? Oh yeah, and she also had a reality show on VH1 that was A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, and the gimmick was she's bisexual. So, the contestants were both male and female. And that was the gimmick of that show.
Made videos on social media on how they cloned her to please the Illuminati's sexual desires.
I'm a cloaked in shadow Illuminati member. Master, who would you like us to clone for your pleasure tonight? Let's see, we already made it through the A-list celebrities and the B-listers and the C-listers. You remember MySpace? You remember VH1?
Tools of capitalism.
Remember that one lady? She's like a Nazi or something. Give me that one. Give me her. Yes, master. Immediately. Woo Lulu with 100 bits. No celebrity would be used that's more relevant. It's interesting also that they cite her, considering she is
There's nothing funny
legitimately,
about the tools of
like,
capitalism.
not right. She is delusional. Daddy Sume with a bit. Brie Larson, we must indoctrinate Jeremy.
She has been speaking out against the Illuminati for a few years. However, it is hard to find
Okay, but she's also crazy, right? Just because someone's speaking out against something doesn't mean it's real. It might just mean that person is delusional.
anything on her now.
The last time she posted anything seems to be almost a year ago, but she does have a YouTube channel called Tornado Thien Wife of Christ, in which she mostly talks about her paintings and focuses on being a Christian. And when you go there, you won't even think it's her because physically she's changed a lot. She's gained a lot of weight and stuff, but actually we've confirmed.
Kind of rude.
Right?
Yeah,
You check
she has tattoos and
stuff.
everything. Yeah, and she has kids. I think now she's just like,
Doing her thing.
yeah, she just wants to have a family. She doesn't
Yeah.
care about, it's
The
all good.
Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other celebrity who came out and even had a video with his so-called clone is Kid Boo. However, Donald has said that
I don't know
he's
who that
doing
is.
this for attention and a publicity stunt and isn't actually with his clone, but instead just using software to edit it. However, Kid Boo did have a live Periscope video with his clone, so I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
Oh, you idiots!
Have a live Periscope video.
Dude, are you serious? You look at this and go, yes. This is evidence that this is his clone. They don't even look the same. They look like they both have their hair dyed pink, but they don't look like the same person genetically.
With his clone, so I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Another celebrity is Nicki Minaj, of course, who tweeted this out with the hashtag #StopHumanCloning. Also, many other people, such as female rapper Cree Sean, who tweeted out she has seen the cloning centers, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, ESPN host Chris Fowler, and many more.
Now, some of these could just be joking, but we wanted
You don't say.
to include these because we honestly don't know. Also, Jared Goff, who plays for the NFL Rams, wore a jacket that said cloned on it during an interview.
I imagine that's some, like, designer jacket that says that for some reason. It's probably either the brand name or just an interesting choice for the jacket.
This is not a name of a company from what we could tell.
Another rap artist who came out is B.O.B., who we endearingly call Bob, who's also talking about Marshall and backing up his story. He even made a YouTube video talking about cloning and supported Donald Marshall's claims, saying all kinds of things actually started to happen to him once he started to speak out publicly about cloning.
Another celebrity mentioned is Britney Spears. Donald claimed that Britney willingly joined the Illuminati to be famous and then wanted out because of what they were doing to her. He said that they cloned a lot of her and were basically raping her clone body every night.
He said
These guys are awful. Seriously? You're gonna make this stuff up and you're gonna say it with a straight face at people? Are you kidding me? What the hell?
she was so tired of it that she decided to make a video exposing it in her song Break the Ice. The music video is an anime of Britney breaking into a cloning center and smashing all of the clone versions of herself.
Capitalism.
Dr. Gamble with 10 bits. Okay, so guys, do you think that in the period of time that she wants to, she's like, I'm fed up with this. I'm gonna break the story to the world that I'm being cloned and the clones are being abused. And you think she goes to her manager and says, okay, I want to do a music video. It's anime. And in the anime, I'm breaking out clones of myself. And you think at no point during the months and months it must have taken to animate this music video, anyone was like, hey, shouldn't we stop this, right? And also during that time, If you're someone who's like, I need to let the world know today that the Cabal is cloning people, why would you choose the slowest way possible to let them know? I can't just call a news conference and tell people. I need to have someone do an anime music video to show them what's going on. What?
Donald claims that the cloning centers look exactly like what is depicted in the video, with 2 tanks on top of each other in large rooms. He says it only takes about 5 months for a clone to be fully grown.
Donald also claims that he wrote that song along with most of Britney's other songs. He claims that Hit Me Baby One More Time is about himself getting beaten for not making songs.
Fine.
Also, he said James Cameron's Avatar is actually based on real-life technology. He talks about a company which is a
Just
real
why?
company
I
called
concur.
2045 Initiative. It focuses on life extension technology combined with Russian specialists in the field of neurointerfaces, robotics, or artificial organs, and AI systems.
But let's now get into Donald's personal story and more with his music. Again, we're just presenting what we found, but there does seem to be evidence to back up at least some of what he says.
Donald says when he was 5 years old, they started to torture him and forced him to do things in his cloned body.
Greg A 36A, thank you for following.
Killed, he would then wake up in his real body feeling like his heart is going to explode and in great pain. Almost every night this happened to him.
However, his memory was actually suppressed until he turned about 30. He said for some reason the Illuminati decided to allow him to have his memories back.
The first time they didn't block his memory and brought him to the center, he thought he was abducted and brought into a different dimension. He said being in a clone body is exactly the same as being awake. But growing up, he said he never remembered his dreams. Then he realized it is because he didn't have any.
Donald said he even tried setting
Why would clones not have dreams? They would still have human brains. Why would they not have dreams? That doesn't even make sense as a lie.
alarm clocks, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, even sleeping pills to force himself not to enter REM sleep. However, he claims nothing ever worked. And when he was drinking or on drugs, the clone body would feel the effects too. That's really weird.
It's super weird. He said he even tried
That doesn't even make sense. You don't have some magical link. If you were somehow to make a human clone, you wouldn't have some magical link between the two of you where if you got drunk, your clone would get drunk. You getting drunk is a chemical process that happens inside your body. It's not some magical field that happens when you let alcohol into your system that can then be transmitted to some body that's similar to yours. That's not how anything works.
wrap his head in tinfoil, but they laughed at him and told him there was no way to block the transfer and that it was hopeless even to try. Now, what is interesting about this is that the University of
Tell that
California
to Elliot for me,
performed a
T.
study on mice using light to erase specific memories.
Yep, just like the real-life MIB flash thingy.
Well, technically it's called a neuralizer.
That's what I just said.
This actually has a real name. Well, not the neuralizer thingy, but in science they call it optogenetics. In a nutshell, this theory concerns how memories are formed and stored within the brain. And according to the study, neuroscientists believe that learning is processed within the cerebral cortex of the brain, but retrieved again through the hippocampus.
Hippo say what? Now, for those of you out there who have no idea what this means, like me, we can explain it in an example. The study said they placed mice in a cage and gave them electric shocks. They switched off specific nerve cells in the hippocampus of the mice, and they actually lost all memory of the trauma.
To make sure they did, they placed them in the same cage, and instead of showing signs of fear, they explored their new environment and seemed eager to find new things. This showed that it worked, and their memory was suppressed.
We also know through so many insiders and people coming forward that the Illuminati has had the ability to do this for a long time.
Thanks for following.
So maybe this is a way to get soft disclosure out through the study of mice.
According to Marshall, they can erase or bring back memory at a push of a button. Also, we have talked a lot about the voice of God technology and other kinds of dark tech that would make all the world's people want to storm the Pentagon if it was revealed.
Or storm Area 51 like people are already planning to do.
Not Area.
I digress. Well, anyway, we had our guest Desiree, who's been a targeted individual, or TI. Now, Donald says that the two main leaders of the Clone Center were, or still are, none other than Vladimir Putin and the Queen Elizabeth, along with the entire royal...
You know, old-time allies.
Capitalism.
England and Russia. Freaking out 99 with a bit. I really wish they'd give citations, but I guess it's funnier if they don't. Any plans to have Elon breaking his own window for a notification? Just seems fitting. The Cybertruck thing, I think that's the thing if someone hosts. If someone hosts or raids, I think, then we get the Cybertruck window break.
royal family. Marshall said as his memories came back, he also started to recognize so many of his own family members, including parents, brothers, step-parents, etc.
He remembers being 5 years old and brought on stage surrounded by an auditorium full of people with the center
That's right,
being a dirt
capitalistic
pit.
propaganda.
He said he was constantly raped and tortured, and to combat this,
Yeah,
he
there you
started
go.
singing.
There it is.
So you might be wondering why Donald hasn't been killed by the Illumidonkey or why his life hasn't been threatened. Well, it's because they actually used him to write music, right? Well, this is where the story really begins, and hang in there because you're probably going to think it's actually too hard to believe.
You don't say. Coming from this channel, wow, what a shock. Something that would be too hard to believe. I can't believe it. Wow, I'm surprised.
He said that when he was really young, Queen Elizabeth asked him if he could do anything, and from there, he actually started to sing. They liked what he sang so much that they recorded it and made a hit single out of it.
Soon he became known as the amazing boy who could make top 10 hit singles in no time. He said if he didn't, they would torture him, which is how he started to make music for everyone.
Wait, is he gonna claim that he's written like every hit song in the last 40 years? Because that's amazing. And frankly, if you're gonna lie, I guess go for it. I guess go for the, actually, did you know I've written every #1 hit in the last 40 years secretly? Captain Seculoid with a bit. Do they think that saying Illumidonkey instead of Illuminati saves them from getting unalived, or are they just putting on a show? I'm guessing it has to do with maybe thinking that it gets them flagged by YouTube or something, if I had to guess. I don't know, though.
And this started at 5 years old.
Yeah, and this is also the reason why they won't kill him, is because he's too valuable for them as a songwriter, right?
Because no one else on the planet can write songs.
Exactly.
Okay. One piece of evidence that's basically like the smoking gun is the cover of Megadeth's 2001 album titled The World Needs a Hero. Wikipedia says that Dave Mustang is on the cover, however, Dave has obvious red hair, and Donald claims
Because lighting and changing someone's hair color on an album cover, that's impossible to do. Clearly, it's much more likely that it's secretly a clone who's written every hit single for the past 40 years.
it was one of his clone bodies that's on the front after it was beaten.
It doesn't even look like him.
Honestly, it does look a lot like him,
No, they just both have dark hair.
and this was what made us want to dive into.
Nothing funny about
PK the Lost says, I was the play a cursed Toreador in a Vampire the Masquerade game once, whose curse was they had to continually change their name because anytime they write a song, it would instantly become a one-hit wonder for whoever performed it. The Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits, yes. This guy is a well-known crazy. I've listened to his insane rambling way more often than anything.
This story.
Yeah, I think we got spurious symbology as evidence, didn't we? Did we? I don't know. I don't even know if I have that on the sheet. I don't remember. No, we don't have it marked off, actually.
Even more. He says the blood on his face is real, but the rest is just computer graphics. Now, we are just presenting what we found here and have no real way to verify this, but this is just the beginning of his story.
Yeah,
Citation
according to Donald,
needed.
nearly every top 50 song you hear on the radio was created by him.
No? No. Untrue. I'm not even going to ask for a citation. It's just untrue.
In one video, he explained that the Illumidonkey put these microchips in his clone body, which are connected to a speaker system. So all he needs to do is to think of drums, sounds, guitars, lyrics, etc., and it actually plays those sounds.
You'd think if they have the technology to do that, they'd just put that in everyone's brains, and then you could basically have like an iPod in your brain.
He said that he became such a phenomenon that everyone wants to meet him in the cloning center and get him to make music for him. He said even though he was young, he made music for everyone, including bands and groups of all genre, even heavy metal. Of course, he says while he made millions of dollars for everyone, he got nothing in return aside from not
I love it
being
when it
tortured.
just sounds like shitty fan fiction. Me too. Ooh, bands and lyrics. Here we go. I'm excited to see the examples.
Tools of capitalism.
That sounds dumb, Ben and not Ben. True.
One of the biggest claims is that he thought of the band name Nirvana and even wrote most of the songs on Nevermind, their album.
Okay, but Nirvana started as like a garage band, didn't they? Why would they have given some of these songs or had this kid write songs for a nobody band from like Seattle, right? Why would they have done that? And then they got huge. Did they just show up to a random neighborhood and see Kurt Cobain and all the other people from Nirvana hanging out in a garage and like, psst, hey kids, you want to get famous? We have a clone locked up somewhere and he wrote these songs. By the way, we're going to invent a new genre. It's called grunge. It's going to be great. Put on these flannel shirts and play this music that no one's ever heard of before. And Kurt Cobain goes, yeah, this sounds good. Yeah.
He also said, shockingly, that he wrote Smells Like Teen Spirit, because if he didn't make
I mean, if there's one song from Nirvana that I'm going to pretend I wrote, it's probably going to be that one.
something, they were actually going to torture him.
Or Come As You Are. You know what? No. Come As You Are is the one that I secretly wrote as a clone, if we're just making claims. Thrash Mia with 20 bits. Nirvana is from Aberdeen. It's a pretty depressing town. Okay, my bad.
He said the chorus is about himself, as in here we are now, entertain us, with the lights out, it's less dangerous. Meaning the Illuminati is listening to him, and as long as he knew the lights were off, he knew he wouldn't get beaten if he kept singing.
Do I need to say that's a stretch? I think we all understand that that's quite a stretch.
He said a lot of the song doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he was just saying the first words that popped in his head because he knew if he stopped, he would get beaten.
Okay, so then it would be a shitty song, right? You can't both say he's the most brilliant songwriter in the history of the world, and also, by the way, this hit song by Nirvana that he wrote, he was just the first words that came to his mind. That's what it was. What?
But the part where Kurt sings, I am worst at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed. On DonaldMarshallRevolution.com, it says this about these lines. Quote, Marshall claims that even on the nights he struggled to create new music for the privileged elite, he realized that if it weren't for his ability to create hit songs that generated many millions, he would have been used, abused, and discarded long ago.
Jesus, Dr. Gamble with 20 bits. Perhaps Ben and not Ben are clones designed to keep the masses dumb. I'd believe that before I believe this random person wrote every top 40 hit for the last however many years.
For that reason, he says, music...
Let's look at, I don't even know, top songs last 30 years. Let's see what songs this guy's written. The top 30 songs in the past 30 years. We have Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Not the Boss! Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. That's one of the... Who wrote this list? Money for Nothing is on the list of the top 30 songs in the past 30 years. I'm gonna call BS on that one. I don't hate that song, but it's not that great. Graceland! Really? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? I hate this list. Now I just gotta look at this list. Welcome to the Jungle. Okay, that's that's a good song, right? Fine. Fast Car. He got a fast car. Anywhere. The Dance by Garth Brooks. I hate whoever wrote this list. Like, what? Everybody Hurts by R.E.M. That's a pretty good song. This list sucks, though. List of Billboard. How about this? We'll look at the Billboard top charts. Captain Seculoid with a bit. All of the songwriters that have written famous songs and whole albums are just paid shills, I guess. That's unnecessarily complicated. You don't say. Oh, we gotta go more recent. Let's go from like 85 onward. Alright, I think that makes sense. Wait, what are the... I didn't see the... Single, album. Oh, it goes from... These are the pop, R&B, soul, hip-hop, and country. Okay. Let's start in 85 and see what this dude wrote. Careless Whisper. Okay, that was pretty good. That's a good one. Good for this clone. I do like Careless Whisper. Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Rock Me Tonight. I don't know if I know that. Emergency by Kool and the Gang. We have That's What Friends Are For. We have Whitney Houston's self-titled album, which apparently she had nothing to do with. It was a clone. We have, ooh, Walk Like an Egyptian. That's a good one. Now I'm imagining the clone getting savagely beaten. And they're like, write a song! And he's like, all the old paintings on the tomb, they do the same dance, don't you know? Write a song! If they move too quick, they have to start like... Walk like an Egyptian. Oh, he wrote Slippery When Wet. That's a good one, too. Faith by George Michael. Oh, boy. I'm trying to find, you know, I don't know. End of the Road by Boys to Men. Okay. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. That's good. Danny Sexbang and Ninja Brian are just paid shills. The Illuminati wrote Cool Patrol. Ooh, the soundtrack to the Bodyguard! Yes! Oh my god! Did he write this? Were they like, okay, clone, here's the thing. There's a new Kevin Costner movie. Whitney Houston plays this person in it, and they're gonna fall in love. Write us a soundtrack for The Bodyguard. He's like, can I see the movie? And they're like, no! Write the soundtrack! Love lifts us up where we belong. Ooh, Gangsters Paradise. So, this actually wasn't written by Coolio. Some white clone wrote Gangsters Paradise. What an insight into the African American community struggling in the United States that he was able to write Gangsta's Paradise. Creep by TLC. Ooh, the Macarena! That's a good one. That's one of his best, frankly. Do you think he came up with the dance too, or was that a different clone? Do they have one clone do the songs and another clone does the dances? Or is it all the same guy? Write a song! Hey, Macarena. Oh, he has to speak Spanish too, because the Macarena's in Spanish, so at least partially. Candle in the Wind. That's pretty good. The Titanic soundtrack. We're almost done with this list. I'm sorry, I'm having too much fun with this one. What else? I'm not gonna recognize a lot of these because I don't... Oh, the Eminem Show. Yeah, Marshall Mathers. What a chump. A clone secretly looked that. In the Club by 50 Cent. Quite eclectic. This guy has eclectic songwriting tastes. Just want to put that out there. Ooh, TikTok by Kesha. Sounds pretty good. Thank you to Freaking Out 99. He wrote WAP in Despacito. Ooh, I Dreamed a Dream. Although that's just a song from a musical, so he probably didn't write that one, which is unfortunate. You think he felt bad about that? He's like, dang, that darn Susan Boyle. Thrift Shop by Macklemore. Happy by Pharrell Williams. Uptown Funk. Ah, that's a jam. I don't know any of these newer songs. I don't keep up with the hip music. Anyway, what an impressive clone.
Saved my life, unquote.
If Scatman isn't 94, this list isn't valid. It wasn't.
Because the Illuminati needs him. The interesting thing is that Kurt Cobain would never talk about the meaning behind his songs and even refused to play Smells Like Teen Spirit at concerts towards the end.
Okay, that's probably because he, A, got sick of the song, and secondly, the thing about not wanting to talk about the meaning of his songs, there are plenty of artists who don't want to prescribe a meaning to you. Get your own meaning out of the song. If you have to sit there and explain what the song means, some artists don't like that. He was just one of those people.
Now, Donald said that some bands do try to support him. The band Queenstrike's Silence Lucidity was written by him, and in the recording, he called out, "Help me," and then gave the band his recording. Donald said he was surprised when they left it in, and at 3 minutes and 53 seconds, you can hear Donald say, "Help me."
That's clearly put in intentionally as like a thing they recorded. That's not how anyone says help me. They don't go, oh, help me. That's not how people cry for help. That's how you say that if you're recording something for a music video.
Donald said he also wrote Radiohead's Creep and David Bowie's Let's Dance. For Creep, Donald said he wrote it for Queen Elizabeth and how the public sees her. But then, for the chorus, he unleashes his true feelings about how he feels about her and himself and how he doesn't belong there.
Radiohead also refused to play Creep at live shows, and in one interview with David Bowie, he said his least favorite song was Let's Dance.
Okay. I mean, Let's Dance is okay, but it's like certainly not in my top 5 David Bowie songs. He's allowed to dislike one of his own songs, and he didn't even say he disliked it. It's just his least favorite. If you have songs, and you have a bunch of them, one of them's gonna be your least favorite.
Now, is this all because these were the most popular songs that gave them mainstream status, knowing they didn't write them?
Or just the fact that they didn't want to be known as a one-hit wonder? Since again, we don't know for sure.
What? David Bowie had plenty of other hits other than Let's Dance. What are you talking about?
We are only presenting what we are finding. Another song that he claimed to write, trying to get the truth out, is the Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams.
Again, this is not us saying this, it's what Donald is claiming. This is what he had to say about what the lyrics were actually about. Dark and powerful, the song captures the restlessness of those searching for an outlet for their forbidden desires, whether they want to hurt others or be hurt by others, unquote.
He also states that the lyrics of the song about some of them wanting to abuse you, some of them wanting to be abused, is describing, quote, how every act of perversity imaginable can be found at cloning centers in deep underground military bases worldwide, where everybody is looking for something, and there they usually find it.
Another song is R.E.M's Losing My Religion, if you can believe that. He said that the whole thing is about trying to expose the truth. He says that
I can't believe it. You've provided no evidence that it's true.
the chorus with "That's me in the corner, that's me in the spotlight."
Captain Seculoid Hannah, as a content creator, do you love literally everything you do, though? Don't you love everything you do? Absolutely not. There's tons of stuff I hate. This stream, for instance, not a huge fan. Fucked up big time earlier.
is about himself after his clone was tortured and beaten.
He says the rest is him trying to expose what is going on without saying too much and how it is the hint of the century. Again, we can't back this up, but all of this is super interesting to say the least, especially when you really analyze the lyrics through the viewpoint of this situation. I mean, this song all of a sudden started to make sense to me.
Oh yeah, but going back to Nirvana, they're all small details that he gives that made us really
Antipodian Squid with 500 bits. I'm awake, or should that be woke? Morning, fam. Hope I haven't missed the real crazy half bits. Thank you.
wonder if all of this is true. He said Drain You is about, ready, the Dracos, or Vril as he calls them, draining the blood from humans.
Donald said,
I'm gonna say that counts as vampires. If you have vampires on your card, get vampires. A vampire by any other name would smell as sweet.
that the sound at 1 minute and 46 seconds into the song aren't these like rubber duckies, but the sound of the young Vril hatchling minutes and 30 seconds isn't Cobain, but an actual person being killed by the Vril.
Now, Ben and I both know the Dracos are pretty much real, and Donald goes into great detail of these horrible beings. So this is the part that gets very kind of juicy. He said that they have been here for millions of years, deep underground, and are the true controllers of the Illumidonkey.
Why do they call it that? I gotta find the video where they explain that.
From our research, it seems that they first came out after Hitler rose to power because his thoughts aligned with their own and they knew he would do great evil. We have talked about this a lot on previous episodes.
Did you guys know that the LA Times actually had an article on their front page on January 29th, 1934 titled, "Lizard People's Catacombs City Hunted. Engineer sinks shaft under Fort Moore Hill to find maze of tunnels and priceless treasures of legendary inhabitants"?
Doubt.
Yes, in the 1930s,
MMO addicted with 100 bits so YouTube doesn't flag them.
headlines were long and a little bit more
That would
wordy.
make sense, but it seems like it's gotta be more than that. Like, why pick that specifically?
Can you imagine
And
that?
Let me see, do they have a source to that newspaper? Let me see if I can find that on Snopes or something. Lizard People Tunnel Newspaper Story. The underground catacombs of LA's lizard people. One of the more colorful urban legends of LA is that of the lizard people, an advanced race of humans who created an underground city here some 5,000 years ago. According to the story, incalculable riches and gold tablets with the origins of human civilization carved into them were just waiting to be discovered by some savvy treasure hunter. This super race, allegedly related to the Mayans, had purportedly fled a catastrophic meteor shower and created several such communities along the Pacific coast, including the one in our Deer Basin. The so-called lizard people were so intellectually and technologically advanced that they used mysterious chemicals to dig a network of some 285 tunnels, fully equipped with vast chambers large enough to accommodate 1,000 families who lived off a store of food and water placed there by the tribe. This story, loosely based on a Hopi Indian myth by a tribesman called Chief Greenleaf, was told to a geophysicist and mining engineer named John Warren Schufelt in 1933. As it turned out, Schufelt had invented what he called a radio X-ray machine, which he believed could detect underground tunnels. Add to it the promise of an ancient sheepskin map held by two other treasure seekers, and you have a tale that went viral by 1933 standards. Am I hungry? Sure, yeah. Whenever you want to do dinner. Schufelt's request for lizard people's golden treasures was picked up and followed closely by the Los Angeles Times, and in turn the Associated Press would spread Schufelt's search for the lost catacombs and their inhabitants across the country. The entire underground city, approximately shaped like a lizard, reached from Elysian Park to today's Central Library. Shufelt swore up and down he had discovered the exact location of 1,900 square feet of tunnels, rooms with 9,000 feet of floor space, and 16 places where gold was stored, all by using his radio X-ray machine. He created this map of the passages below the surface of Footmore Hill. After getting permission from the County Board of Supervisors, he began a dig up on the North Hill Street overlooking Sunset Spring and North Broadway. That was watched like an engineering soap opera by folks in the grip of the Depression. The wildly speculative newspaper reports insisted that the buried treasure was Spanish gold planted in the colonial period, and that the crew felt they were ready to bring it out after 28 feet of the shaft was sunk. The deal made by Shufelt and his small team associated was 50-50 split on the county, but the dig was plagued by challenges. Some experts claim the dig must reach 1,000 feet, while Shufelt did accomplish 250 feet. He found no gold or tunnels. When winter turned to spring, the digging stopped, and the gold dried up and the newspaper stories vanished. G. Warren, as he was called to the day of the Great Lizard City Quest, stayed around Los Angeles and finally passed on in North Hollywood in November of '57, leaving a great story behind him. So basically, he's full of crap. He was a con artist or a crazy person. Readers must have been shocked at the front page of the January 29, 1934 LA Times, where Jean Bosquet wrote breathlessly about a search for a lost civilization of lizard people and their buried treasure. The headline contained an unfortunate misspelling, though. Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted, but the lead is a gem, not just for the length. Quote, busy Los Angeles, although the little realizing it in the hustle and bustle of modern existence, stands above the lost city of catacombs filled with incalculable treasure and imperishable records of a race of humans further advanced and intellectually and scientifically than any, even the highest type of present-day peoples. In the belief of G. Warren Shufelt, geophysical mining engineer now engaged in an attempt to wrest from the lost city deep in the earth below blah 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 blah. The Times had covered other attempts to find these tunnels under downtown LA, but this one carried an artist's concept of the lizard people at work. So basically, the newspaper didn't do due diligence, and they published a ridiculous article by a scam artist. Fun.
Headline now.
Extremely direct.
Yeah, extremely direct. That's why I was like, this is on the front page of LA
Yeah,
Times.
reptoids. That'd
And
be
it's
reptoids.
G. Warden Shufelt, a geophysicist mining engineer, found massive catacomb tunnels.
No, he didn't find them. That's misleading. He said the device he invented could detect them. He said they were down there. They went digging and never found them. Don't say he found them when he did not find them.
Underground LA, which go right along in ancient Hopi writings. These Hopi writings say that their snake brothers lived underground in these massive cities.
Shufelt even had a map of the city, which he noted looked very much like a lizard. He said when a great catastrophe happened about 5,000 years ago, the lizard people dug these massive tunnel systems to hide from the disaster.
He also claimed that they
If a disaster was coming, would you have the time to dig? Like, it took them a whole season to dig a quarter of the way to where they thought the tunnels were, and they didn't succeed. So, if an impending disaster is coming, I don't know what they claim it was, whether it's an earthquake or since it's on the coast, if it's like tidal wave. Do you really think you have the time to dig elaborate underground tunnel systems to live? That doesn't make any sense.
had on record carved golden tablets that tell the history of the human race. Unfortunately, there isn't much else that came out, and now
Because he never found it. Because he was lying.
if you look it up, the media just says that the guy was nuts.
Because he was. If you want to go find the tunnels and prove otherwise, please do. Until such a time, why would you believe that this crazy person who claimed that lizard people built tunnels under Los Angeles, why would you give him any credence or benefit of the doubt?
But LA is known to have these underground cities or catacombs.
Q was doxxed? That's amazing.
But
If that's
can you
the
imagine
case.
LA Times printing that article today?
Right. Yeah, I can imagine it would say something like, crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists resurrect 100-year-old debunked article to prove bizarre debunked allegations.
Yes. Have the self-awareness to recognize that that is exactly what you're doing, you idiots.
Would probably say exactly that.
It really would.
Yeah.
But getting back to Donald, he says there are different types of Dracos or Vrills, just like a lot of insiders say today. But one of the most disturbing things is something he calls droning. This is a quote taken from the website donaldmarshallrevolution.com. Quote, Vril lizards have a natural proboscis at the top of their head from which they eject a type of thick cerebrospinal fluid. When this fluid enters the human, usually through the eye, and from there to the brain, a chemical transformation immediately begins to take place. The victim essentially dies, leaving the lizard parasite in complete control of all brain function. After a period of recovery, the Vril host can return to its regular activities, looking, acting, and seeming completely normal. I'd like to add, but still looking like a psycho, kind of like Dali. Oh wait, there's an alleged photo of him with one. Cue it.
No.
Marshall even claims that the Illuminati are expected to offer one of their children to be replaced by a real host. He also expresses that they are obsessed with humans and admire our bodies and even our intelligence, which we all.
So, like, these lizard people are basically their, like, species' version of furries, except they're into humans, and they're obsessed with us.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Antipodian squid with 400 bits. How do you know? How do you think they achieved this?
Also know they are
Honestly, if anything is true about the universe, it's probably that we're being controlled by a secret cabal of lizard furries. That would make a lot of sense. The universe is so stupid. That makes more sense than 90% of the things I hear on this channel. Daddy Sume with a bit. They're called fleshies. There should be a bingo square for cognitive dissonance, probably.
pressing because they actually fear us. They fear us reaching our potential with our minds. Also, I mean, there are 7 billion people in the world. Imagine what would happen if we actually got along.
And that offering of a child you mentioned aligns exactly with a
They're
lot
called
of Fritz Springmeier's research
scalies.
with Illumi.
No, because they're not into scales. They have scales. They're into humans. They're like, yeah, fleshies would be probably a closer word.
Illuminati insiders. And yeah, imagine what we would be capable of if we used full 100% of our minds.
Oh my god, I hate this trope. You know what it's called when you use 100% of your brain at once? It's a seizure. You shouldn't be using all of your brain. Your brain uses different parts of it at different times. If you activate everything in your brain at once, bad things are happening to you.
I mean, literally, we could achieve anything. The Dracos don't have human emotions and enjoy feeding on us and enslaving the human race.
The saddest part about all of this, I mean, if this is all true, is our fellow human beings who have sold out the rest of the world for their sadistic power, greed, lust on empty promises from the Dracos, and they are the chosen elites and we are just cattle.
We all know these Dracos hate compassion and kindness, so
What do you mean we all know? You haven't established they exist. You can't start pontificating upon their motivations and their emotional state.
the more we fill ourselves with this, the more they'll be going down.
And when we say going down, I mean literally going down to hell where they belong. They have messed with the laws of the universe.
Wait, so lizard people exist, but so does the Judeo-Christian idea of hell? Not even Judeo, just Christian. Judaism doesn't have the same conception as hell as Christianity. So, not only do lizard people exist, who have, like, super intelligence, but also Christianity is true. That's complicated, and I'd like to know how that works. Is there also, like, a lizard person Jesus who came to die for the sins of lizard people? Are there, like, fundamentalist lizard Christians who, like, don't like the fleshy ones who are into humans and they think it's, like, sinful? So they're like, you're gonna go to lizard people, heck. Is heaven and hell, like, the same for humans and lizard folk, or are they segregated? I need to know the answers to these questions.
And the karmic ties with the human race, and they don't even realize that they too are being used by dark minions doing dirty work of higher evil beings. So all in all, why should we believe Donald Marshall's claims?
Yes, that's a really, really, really good question, and I think you should have answered that before saying literally anything else. Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. These idiots quote lizard people based on Mayan legends and myths, and also there's a literal Christian hell. End quote. Yep.
Well, it's complicated. Why?
Because at first, when we read Donald Marshall's website, seeing that he wrote all these famous songs and was exposing how all that got done in Hollywood and then all the cloning, it was admittedly a little much.
You don't say. Did he provide any sources, or did he just say, believe me, guy, this is totes real? Because you need to provide evidence for extraordinary claims, and these claims are more than extraordinary. They're ridiculous.
Even for us. I mean, what a story.
Right, but as we kept reading his description of song after song, along with his description of people, and
Dark
even the
minions
details
all
of
the
their
way down.
lives, and even how the deaths coincided with a lot of things he said, including the Dracos, something became clear.
He'd either have to be a mad genius who's gone in and researched all this, or he's telling the truth. And it only got more apparent that he was telling the truth after we started watching video after video of him. He really doesn't appear to be doing this for fame, but to expose something dark.
But don't just listen to us. Go ahead and research this and see what you all think.
And honestly, there's so much more on all of this, so much more, that we're even a bit worried about putting it all on YouTube.
So we are going to end this episode now on YouTube, but continue on with the really insane stuff on our own edgeofwonder.tv platform for our subscribers.
Yeah.
These guys are ridiculous. I just don't understand why they think anything they say holds any water. It's so ridiculous. Christian American with 100 bits. Because Bible, that's why. I'm sorry for my brother. Oh boy, what else?